You might think that training in a baseball facility with other professionals is probably pretty intense and a serious environment to be in.
Certainly my RPM experience.
Welcome to RPM Baseball. Come on down and get your filling of dick jokes today.
However, you would be wrong. That is definitely not always the case.
Is that recording? Yeah, nice. Yep.
And don't get me wrong, Frank is great at his job being RPM strength and conditioning coordinator. But we spend way too much time together here in the mornings, and that leads to a lot of interactions like this.
Sounds a lot like not my problem.
Sounds good, man. I'll take care of it shortly. Thank you, though.
Heaven forbid, Frank has to do something when I get here. Hey, Frank, I know I just made fun of you for not doing it.
Not spotting you. I knew where that was going.
I realized while I was doing it, as I'm putting the plates on,
good.
For a weight I said I wasn't going to do.
But like I said, he does do his job, which includes not letting me get killed by my own bad, hubris-filled decisions.
Alright, we're going for 3.
Okay. Back to me. Let's go. Yeah, easy.
We're going to go 2 more.
I was going to say you got 5 in that tank.
Ooh.
Let's go. Back to me. Drive.
We did not have 2 more, so we had 3.
Even if he occasionally does make me laugh mid-set, which is generally not advised.
Oh, no handoff.
No handoff.
All right. Oh, man. Yeah, you're going for 5. They had one more.
Yeah, 5.
They had one more.
And believe me, while I do enjoy having the place mostly to myself in the mornings a lot of the time, I also definitely enjoy having other guys around because it's good for the training environment, and also it usually leads to good conversations, be they about baseball or other things.
How's it feel at the hand?
It feels good. It's just one of those things where, like, judging the effort level, like, this feels like I'm giving it a lot, and I still have to throw, like, 10 more miles an hour today.
Oh, you're trying to get up to 70?
I have to get up to, like, 70-ish, but it's like, I'm going to try to throw this, like, 85%. Should be, like, 62-ish. Oh,
Yeah.
or maybe I'm doing better than I think.
It's like relearning how to throw and everything, right?
Yeah, it's just like relearning like where you're, because like every time I'm trying to go up in velo, it's like I'm trying to throw it as hard as I feel like I can. It's just like my body knows that like, you know, the elbow's still kind of new, so there's still like a limit on it.
And it's like trusting that, right?
Yeah, it's like learning to trust it and learning like, hey, like you used to throw way harder than this. Like it's still gonna be in there.
And you're in your head, right?
It's just
like,
fine.
I reach these numbers,
Yeah,
but you still got to hold yourself back. Right?
For right now, it's like you just have to like go up a little bit at a time and trust that like your body's okay with it.
The little wins, right?
The little wins are big. Yeah, it's just like relearning like how stuff feels and like.
But you know what? You look great as far as the look. Everything looks
It feels
exactly
smooth.
the same.
And when I look at it on video, it's like it looks smooth. So I'm happy about that.
They come back and they're like, the whole motion is all thrown off.
Yeah, a lot of guys come back, especially like throwing for the first time, like super funky, like trying to like protect the elbow. So far I haven't had that, and I'm hoping that if I've gotten this far, like it won't happen. Yeah. But.
And while many times these conversations are productive and baseball related, it is just as often that they are neither of those things.
I've never got stuck in a split spot. What's the insane feeling where
I don't think I've ever gotten stuck in a split squat.
But I feel like even if you push hard enough, you can get up.
Yeah, just lift the
Push
lift.
balance like that.
That's one of my other favorite memes. Like, oh, if you get stuck benching, just push the weight up off your chest.
You know who Dan John is?
No.
So Dan John's like, in like training, he's the guy that literally is like the keep it simple, stupid guy.
Yeah.
It's like swings and get-ups. That's what
Yes, you told me this story. You're talking about like
overhead press.
Overhead
I
press.
was like, how do I get my overhead press like stronger? Like, what should I do? And he's like, you take the kettlebell here, and then you do this. I'm like, ah.
And on the rehab side of things continue to trend upwards. Traditionally, Tommy John rehab throwing programs are built off of distance, but since the dominant portion of my throwing is going to be done in a 70-foot batting cage, I will mostly be going off of velocity, which might actually be a better metric anyway. A lot of days I find that I'm not throwing the ball quite as hard as I feel like I am, and so having the radar gun is a great way to make sure that I am pushing it as much as I need to, just as much as it's a good tool to make sure that I'm not overdoing it. Throwing and pitching are far from an exact science, but the way that I look at it, having the most information possible during rehab can't possibly be a bad thing. Along with the throwing progression, I'm trying to squat basically as heavy as I can because I can't deadlift very heavy given the force it would put on my elbow, and I like having strong legs, and I think having strong legs is very beneficial as a pitcher, so this is really my best option for a while. There's one thing that a year of not being able to pitch should be beneficial for, it is overall strength. I'm a little over 6 months out of surgery at this point, and hopefully about halfway through the rehab process. And so far things have gone about as well as I could have hoped, so hopefully they will continue that way for the next 6 months. My next video should be back to being more focused on the specifics of throwing and rehab, but this one is a little more about the environment. And one more thing about that environment before I end the video. The in-gym culture is truly undefeated, if for no reason other than the Halloween lift, which we get probably like 95% buy-in on. However, throwing in a monk's robe is definitely not something that I would recommend.